this link, download now, Tableau public. Just click on this. Okay. You'll get this page where you need to click download the app. It will redirect you the one more page where you need to click again download. Then fill these required things here. So once you're done with that, you can just download the app. Okay. Thank you, Preetham. So it is about 458 MB. So yesterday I tried to download it. So it was about similar to 460, 458. Yeah. Now it will take some time to download. Okay. So in the meantime, let's see the interface. Okay. Is this fine? If we move ahead with the interface of Tableau, we'll understand some of the interface or how basically the environment is structured for the Tableau. Okay. So we won't be doing any drag and drop, any visualization now until everyone able to install the Tableau on your system. Okay. So once any one of you have downloaded it, please let me know. Okay. So I'll let you know what are the steps of installation of Tableau. Okay. So let's see the interface of Tableau. So this is once you once you download the app right from the application from the web browser, so you need to follow certain steps of installing the application on the system. Okay. So once you install it, right, so this is how the Tableau public looks like. So this is the opening page, we can say. Okay. So basically Tableau consisting of 3 layers. Okay. So one is this open page. Okay. And the other is the data source. One is this open page, the second is data source, and the third one is this workbook. Okay, we can say this workbook or a worksheet. Okay, so this is the one. So using this icon of Tableau, we can shuffle between the open page as well as between the workbook. Okay, if I click, I'm able to go to the first page, which is start page or the opening page. If I click again, I will be redirected to the workbook. Okay. So coming to this first, we will understand each of the or the layers here. We can say this as a one layer. Okay. So each of the interface or each of the layers part wise. Okay. Please show me once again. Nagesh, we are referring to what? With respect to downloading. You can just click on the link which is provided here. Please go through that. Or Tableau file. See, since it will take some time, right? So we are basically looking into the interface. I still have not shown you how to install it or how to open a file. Okay. So this is just meantime to understand the different layers of Tableau. Okay. So we will. I guess someone has downloaded. If yes, please let me know in the chat box, or else I will just show it. We'll do one thing. Let me see if I have that software package. Yeah, I guess I have this. Let me share my screen here. Okay, so is this visible? Okay, see, once you download the software package right, on your system, so yes, so once you get this, so this is what the application looks like once you download it. Okay. Let me see how can I do it. Okay, so this is the downloaded package here. Okay, so package or the software. What I'll do, I'll just double click on this. So once I double click on this, it will start, with the installation process here. It will take some time. So in order to open this, shape and tag script. I guess this is the one. Okay. Yeah. So is this visible? Is this pop-up visible? Tableau Public 2021.4.4. Is this visible? Please let me know in the comments or in the chat. So this is how a pop-up looks like. Okay. So once you get this, okay, you will be asked with the some of the agreements to agree some of the agreements that Tableau has been issued. You just need to click on this. Since I have already installed, okay, I'll get this either repair or uninstall. Let me just close this. Okay, so you will get the agreement. Agree to those agreements. Click on next. Okay, so after that you will be getting to install or start with the installation process. Okay, so it might also ask you to agree with the running this software as an administrator. Click yes to get this thing. Okay, and after that the software package starts installing. So it may take some minutes based on the system that you have. What are the requirement of your system? So based on that, it will take some time to install. So once you are done with that, okay, so it will be basically available in on your desktop itself. Okay, so once you install, right, so this is what icon that will be appearing on it will be appearing on your desktop itself. Okay, saying a Tableau Public 2021.4. Okay, so if let me know if everyone got this icon on the desktop. Yes, please raise your hands, or else you can just type got it in the chat box. How many of you are able to install it, the Tableau Public here? Am I audible? How many of you are still installing the Tableau Public? Guys, let's make this interactive. Okay, let's not make it boring without any interaction here. Okay, please unmute yourself or just comment in the chat box so that the session should be interactive here. It should be in a both way communication, not just a single way. Abhilash, Ashish, Devi, Nagesh, Neha, was all right. Still installing. Trouble for me. Okay, Pavas, can you share your screen? We will see what basically going on. Devi, do I need to click on the login public post installing it? Yes, you don't have to log in into Tableau Public. Okay, you can just install it. I'm done. Okay, it's installed. Fine. See, once you are installed, right? So you'll be getting this icon on the on the desktop itself. Okay. So once you get this icon on the desktop, you can just double click on this. Okay. So once you double click on this, you will be getting this opening page. Okay, so we'll get this opening page on the screen. Everyone got this page? Do let me know in the chat box. Installing done. First, can you share your screen? Let's see what is the error you are getting. Okay, done. Oh, fine. All right. So everyone, I guess everyone was able to open this, the first opening page of Tableau. Everyone got this? If yes, we can proceed further, like understanding what are the layers, what are the different features that each layer gives us. I guess we can proceed, right? All right. See, let's understand this. In the meantime, if you are still installing, this is fine. Okay, so we won't be interacting much with the software. We will only be understanding the how the each interface basically tells us what are the things that we can do out of this. Okay, so the first thing here, putting this pen here. Okay, so we have a three parts here. Okay, so this is the one part. This is the second part. Okay, this entire thing, and this is the third part. Okay, we have a three parts here. Okay, the first part is basically the connect. Okay, the first part is connect, the second is open, and the third is discover. Okay, so in this connect, okay, so this basically helps us to connect to a different source file. Okay, the source file can be of there are two things in order to connect. Either you can connect to a file or you can connect to a server. Okay, so in this connect, do we need to log in credential? No, Prita, we don't have. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so in this connect, we have two things. One is to a file. Okay, in order to connect to a file, any data, right? So it can be to a file. Okay, the data can be present in a file, or it can be present in any server. Okay, so since we are using public, right? So we have a restrictions to connecting to some of the outsourced servers here. Okay, so hence we will look into that to a server. Okay, so let's look at to this one itself. Okay, to a file. So we can connect to an Excel file. Okay, if you have a data in an Excel format, you can just click on this and it will ask you where the particular file is present. You can just go to that particular directory and select that. Okay, so if you have text file, okay, so this text file can be of .csv file. Okay, if it is a comma separated file, you can just click on this text file. If your data is present in a tab separated files, right, which is .csv, right? So if it is such files where the data is present, right, you can just click on this text file. Okay, let's say if you have a JSON file, okay, JSON is a one more structured format of storing the data, right? So if you have this JSON, you can just click on JSON. You have a Microsoft Access, PDF file, spatial file, and a statistical file. Okay, so these are the only few connections that Tableau public uses. Okay, so in order to connect to a server here, right? So we have a few options here. Let me see what are those options. If I click on this more, right? So I can see some of the things like installed connectors. So we have Google Drive, Google Sheet, OD data, and the web data connectors. Okay, so these are only the few server connections that we get in a public. But if you go to the Tableau desktop, right? So you have a lot of servers. All the data connections that you have, with respect to any server where your data is stored, right? So all those connectivities will be present now. Okay, so that was with respect to Tableau desktop, not with respect to public. That's we are only getting a few here with the public. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Let's go to. Okay, so let's understand. So this was the first part, right? So So this was the first part. Let's move on to the second part here. So this is an open part. Okay. So this open part, okay. So we can have a certain things like if you have opened any recent workbooks, right? So it will be shown in this open pane or a open part itself. Okay. And if you have pinned any of the workbooks, okay. So previously, if you have done any workbooks, right? If you want to pin it right on the Tableau public here, you can just pin it. Okay. And you can also explore some of the training workbooks. Okay. So you won't be possible get the Tableau public. Okay. So the only thing that you get in this open part is one is if you have any recent opened workbooks. Okay. That's the one thing. Second thing is any pinned workbooks. Okay. So don't worry much about it. Also, once you start installing and once you start working with the Tableau, you will be getting what are the things that will be present in this part. Okay. The third part is discovery. So in this, we can see will be provided with some of the blocks in order to understand what is visualization, what are the recent posts with respect to Tableau, how we can use the Tableau in a more advanced way. So all these things, if you want more information, you can just click on these of the links here. Okay. So if you want to learn the Tableau by understanding through the videos, you can just go through these links provided in the discovery part. Okay. So this is with respect to the open page, or we can say the connection page here. Okay. So now what are we going to do? So we will try to open one of the data file. Okay. Let me share the file with you guys. So we will be using the Superstore data set. Okay. So let me go to my folders here. Okay. It is called as a sample Superstore for Tableau. Okay. So this is one of the Superstore data set. It has some of the columns. I will show what are those things. Okay. If I open that Excel, I guess everyone got this Excel. Do let me know if you have not got file. I will share again. Everyone got it? Please respond if you got it. It's S. If not, do let me know. I will share it again. Right. So once you open that particular file, which is basically Excel sheet file. Okay. So once I open this, I'll be basically getting 3 sheets here. One is orders, returns, and the people. Okay. Out of these 3 sheets, for today we will be using only the order sheet here. Right. So it has a row ID, order ID. Nagesh, it is shared in the chat box. Is it not available to you? Okay, so it has this row ID, order date, ship date, all these different columns. We will use this data and understand some of the visual insights that we can interpret for the particular Superstore. I don't know which Superstore it is, but it is a sample Superstore. Okay, so for this store, we will try to visualize the data. Okay, so this is with respect to Excel. Let me like how can we connect? Okay, so this is our Excel, right? How can I connect this Excel to our Tableau? Okay, so in order to connect to that, what I can do is I can go to this connect part here. I can just click Microsoft Excel. So since my file is Excel file, and here is the file, which is a sample Superstore for Tableau. Let me share the file again. Okay, I will locate my file, which is a sample Superstore for Tableau, and I will say open. Okay, so once I click open, right, so it will say processing the request. It will take some time to open that particular file on the tab. Okay, so everyone was able to locate the file and open this data set. See, once you connect it and open the particular data set on the Tableau, so this is the next layer that we get. Okay, so this is the next layer that we get. So this is one of the important layer, we can say. So this is one of the intermediate layer. So we can say this as an a broker type. Okay, so this is the layer which basically comes before visualization. Okay, before any visualization, and it comes after connecting the data. Okay, so here we can see we have a three parts. Okay, two parts actually. So one is this connection part. Okay, where you basically what are the different data sets that are being connected here. Okay, we can see this thing at this connection part, and the other thing is what are the different sheet that we have with respect to this. Okay, so that's what we can see at the left side. Coming to the right side, this is the drag and drop tables. Okay, so let's say I want to use out of these three sheets, I want to use any one of the sheets, right? So in order to access that particular data, or in order to connect basically to my Tableau, what I can do, I can just drag this order to this empty pane here. Okay, so whatever the the pane that we look here, right? So this is basically called as a pane, table pane. Okay, so here I can just drag and drop the orders to this pane. Okay, so once I drag and drop, right, so I can see there are three parts again. So the entire pane is divided into three parts. Okay, so one is the relation table. We can say this is a physical relation table. Okay, so the first part is physical relation table. Okay, and then we have a metadata table here. Okay, so this basically gives me the let me increase the size here of this part. Okay, so this basically has this what we say metadata grid. Okay, metadata, we can say metadata grid or metadata table here. Okay, so this gives basically the information of what type of field name we have with respect to all the columns. We saw the columns, right? So each columns will it gives the metadata of each of the columns. Okay, let's say what is the type of the first column? It is where it is, yeah, row ID. What is the type it is? It gives me a hash here, hash symbol. We will discuss what are these hash here. Okay, so it also gives the what is the physical table we have. The physical table we have is the order sheet. Okay, so that's my physical table. Okay, and what is the remote field? Field, or remote field name. So once we import it into Tableau, what is the name that we actually get it, which is the row ID. Okay, so these are the different columns we have. Okay, for each columns we have this metadata. Okay, so this is with respect to metadata grid, and this is our data grid. We can say this as a data grid. This entire thing. Okay, so this entire thing is called as a data grid. Okay, so here look, it is somewhat similar to what we got in the Excel, right? But there is a difference here. Okay, if you see here, yes, I'll tell you. See, if you see here, we have a certain icons here, hash, ABC, calendar icon, right? And there is this globe icon here. Okay, at the country upside there is a globe icon. Okay, so basically when you import the data, right, as I said previously, Tableau is a very intelligent tool which basically understand what type of data that each column has. Okay, so this Tableau gives us to identify the data type. What are the different data types we can assign in Tableau? Okay, let's say if I have a numbers here, I can assign a hash here. Hash nothing but the numerical values. Okay, whatever the integers we have or with respect to the numerical values. Okay, it is being represented using this hash. Okay, whenever a column has a both the numbers as well as the strings or the characters, at such time it gives me ABC. Okay, saying that this particular column, it has a data type of string, and this has a and this has a of a numerical values. This is of string, hence ABC. And if you look here, this is a or if you see here, this is a calendar icon, right? So since this is an order date, column here, so in order to represent the date data type, right? So data type which is being represented using this particular icon. Okay. Sometimes what happens is we get this one of the icon. Let me draw this icon here. Okay. And it has this a time, a clock. Okay. So this is one of the icon you get. Okay. So that is because the whatever the column, okay, whatever the data we have with respect to that column, right, has both date and time. Okay. Whenever I get this icon, right, that means the data type is basically consisting of both date as well as the time. Okay. So remember, so we do not have a such data type here, but you will get once you explore with the more data. Okay, so that is with respect to date and string and numbers. Coming to this global icon. Okay, so this global icon basically tells us that it is related to the countries or with respect to any cities. Okay, geographically, in order to represent the geographical data, right? So we use this icon, particular icon. Geographically, we can represent United States under this icon itself. Anderson, Katachi, or postcard. Okay, so these all comes under this particular icon. Okay, so now see, this is one of the very important layer, okay? Because once you move forward, okay, using this particular data itself, you can basically, let me go to this again. Okay, so this basically tells you like what are the changes that I can make before making the visualization on the data. Okay, let's say I want to perform some of the things. Okay, I want to make a duplicate of this particular field, or if I want to make let's say this is my customer name, right? Let's say I want to split this name, customer name, into first name and last name, right? So how can I do this? I can just say rename. Okay, or else we can say create a calculated field. Okay, so we will discuss more on this, like how we can split this and get a calculated field. Let me show it here. Okay, we can now pass it on the JSON file. We'll see on the in the sheet itself. Okay. So no need to worry. So since this entire data can be move the columns. Yes, you can move the columns. Okay, so I guess you can move it. Why do you want to move first in the first the question is why do you want to move the columns now? There is no necessity of moving the columns. Okay? To rearrange for what purpose?
Suppose the customer name is there, customer name column is there. We just want to move it to exactly after order ID. Just want to know whether we can do it or not, or we need to change in the Excel first and then re-upload it again.
No, I don't think so, right? Let's see. Whatever the data you are seeing here, right, won't be available whenever you move ahead with the worksheet. Okay, if I click on sheet here, right, so you can basically rearrange it here itself if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, so there is no need of actually moving the columns here. Just in case we want to different order of data. Okay, order of the data. Is it the same order as in Excel? Or can you, Devi, can you tell us what's the order you are particularly referring here?
The order is like order ID, order date is there, and then customer ID, customer name, and then ship date. Suppose these two column, which I customer ID and customer name, I need to move to after order date column.
Okay, okay. See, at such situation, if you want to rearrange the entire categorical variables, right, or the categorical columns here, so we have this one of the concept called as the categories. Okay, creating a categories, hierarchical categories here. Okay, so if you create that hierarchical categories, okay, so under one name, okay, under date name, okay, so you will be basically arrange all the order date, ship mode, okay. So all these related to with respect to the dates here, you can just categorize them. Okay. So we will also look into that. Okay. For now, if you want to just change the data type. Let's say I want to change this to Boolean, or else, by mistakenly, the Tableau has not properly given the data type. Okay, so you might want to check it and give the different data type, right? So this is the interface, or this is the step or the process where you need to change it before moving on with the visualization. Okay, since these are the whole numbers itself, I will just click on the whole numbers itself. I'll just leave it as it is. Let's say I have some of the somewhere in between I have that decimal numbers. Okay, so I can just say number of decimal. Okay, so sometimes based on the data, since this is a completely clean data, right? Whatever the data I got it here, it is completely clean. Okay, hence it is able to, the Tableau is able to understand what type of data type I can assign. The Tableau can assign to the data for that particular column. Okay, so that's the one reason of the importance of this interface. Okay, and let's say I want to join. Okay, I have a sheets here. Okay, where first sheet has a let's say it has around 1,000 rows. Okay, and I have one more sheet which is called as a order two. It has few more. Okay, and both the sheet has the same number of column and a name and a data type. Okay, both the sheet has the same data type. Okay, same columns. Okay, number of columns are also similar. Only thing is the entire order is divided into two. Let's say I want to join these two. Okay, so what I can do, basically I can drag and drop and perform the union on this particular order. Okay, so performing the joins here. Okay, so in order to join here, right? So what you can do is you can just let me double click on this order. Okay, drag and drop this order to on this particular orange button. Okay, so since this will basically duplicates the thing. Okay, so whenever I drag the orders again over the orders, this will basically creates the duplicates. Okay, so let's say you have a such situation. Okay, so in order to union or combine the two tables or the sheet, you can use this particular data source interface. Okay, so this is the only situation or only place where you can perform or manipulate your data before going to the visualization. Is this clear? Let's say if I want to see, okay, so I can see only the 100 of data, 100 rows here. Let's say I want to see next 100. Okay, I can just use this here. Or let's say I want to rows. Okay, let's say I want to sort the fields. Okay, I want to sort the fields. I can just say from A to Z. Okay, I can just click on this. This basically sorted based on the columns. As you said, if you want to reorder the things, you can use this. Okay, using the sort fields option. Okay, so let's say I just want to keep it as it is, how I got from the Excel sheet itself. I can just click on the data source. Let me move this. So these are the features that we get with respect to data source. Okay, so once you have this, okay, so for now what we will do is we'll basically drag and drop the orders. We won't make any changes to the the data that we have. It is already cleaned and everything. Okay, we'll just drag and drop the orders here. Okay, so once we are done with this, we'll basically go into the visualization part itself. Okay, so in order to move into the visualization, the interface, or what we basically called is basically workbook. Okay, so in order to move to that particular sheet, we will just click on this sheet one. Okay, so this basically creates the third interface or the third environment or the layer, which is called as a workbook layer. Okay, so this again has a sum of the tools, or you have a toolbar here. We have a pane again. Okay, so we have this cards here. So what are the things you see here, right? So these are called as the cards. This is a page card. This is a filter card. This is the marks card. Okay, so this is a view pane. Okay, so this is a view pane. Yes. Okay, So this is the view pane and this is the shelf. Okay, this is the column shell. Okay, this is with respect to column shell. This is with respect to row shell. Can you please mute yourself? Okay. So those are with respect to the shelf cards. Okay. So let's say I want to. So this basically, whenever I click on sheet one, right? So this basically creates a sheet. Okay. This is my working sheet. Let's say I want to move on with the creating a next work visualization sheet. What I can do, I can just click on this new worksheet. Okay. So this basically creates a new worksheet, and this particular symbol creates a dashboard. Okay. So here in this dashboard, what we can do is whatever the graphs we got, right? Whatever the visuals we got from each of these sheets can be incorporated to a single board. Okay. So this single board is called as a dashboard. We will look into this how we can incorporate all the sheets into one single board where we can visualize all the insights that we got it. Okay, so that is with respect to that, and we have this sidebar. Okay, so this sidebar, okay, it has two things. One is data and another is analytics. Okay, so we will discuss first is what data it is. Okay, what is basically the data. Okay, so this data, whenever we connected to our data set, right? So here we connected to this superstore data set. Okay, all the columns with respect to that particular table will be incorporated into this date bar here. Okay, I mean, sorry, the data bar here. Okay, as you can see, there is a orders here. Orders are nothing, basically the sheet name, right? So the orders is from a superstore data set. Okay, so here you can see there is a connection to that particular sheet. Then we have a different, column names here, but these are basically, if you see here, the entire table is divided into two things. Okay, so one is in the green color. Okay, the other part is in the blue color here. Okay, so whatever the columns that we have in the blue, the blue part is basically called as a dimensions. Okay, remember whatever the blue color we have or the blue columns we have here are called as a dimensions. I guess you are familiar with dimension. What is dimension? Okay, so dimensions are nothing but these basically contain. Okay, these each one of these are called as a dimension. That's because each one of these have a qualitative values. Okay, such as names, dates. Okay, so in order to name them, we basically say that as a dimensions. Whenever we have a name, date, okay, or a categorical data, we can consider them as a dimensions in Tableau. Okay, so if you look here, discounts, profit, quality, all these are quantitative values, right? So hence we can say these numerical values or quantitative values as a measures. Okay, whatever you see in the green, right, the green color are called as a measures. So this is the measure part and this is the dimension part. Okay, is this clear? So this is with respect to data sidebar, and let's move on with the analytics. Okay, so let's say you want to perform some of the models. Okay, either a regression model or a logarithmic model. Okay, we can use this analytics sidebar. Okay, so it can give you a trend line over the data. Let's say you have a two axes. One is sales and profit, and you got a segregated data points for this, and you want to cluster those data points. Okay, so for that you can use this cluster feature. Okay, you can also use a trend line over the cluster. Okay, you want to see how basically data is spread and understand the ask or all those information can be found using this model. Okay, for now we will understand this itself. Okay, so these are can be done in the others. Okay, so now, so these are the things. Okay, in the above, if you see, these are the menus we have with respect to worksheet. What are the different features we have with respect to worksheet? With respect to dashboard, these are the features and so on. Okay, so below this we have this toolbar. Okay, so this is undo, redo. This is save. This is to connect to a data source. Okay, this is to view a new worksheet. this is to swap between the axes, okay, or we want to swap between the rows and columns, and this is for sort, basically sorting and ascending and descending order, okay, and this is called as a fit view, okay. So if you want to fit your particular sheet, okay, so this is basically called as a sheet here. So if you want to fit it based on entire view, you can do it. You can do it standard. Most preferred way is entire view itself. Okay. So this is with respect to the workbook interface. Okay. All right. Any doubts? Any queries you have? Or else we can just move on with the first visualization over the data.
No, sir, can you repeat that? Why is that hash over there? I just missed that.
This thing.
Yes, hash. Why is that?
Hash is the one of the data type. Okay. Tableau provides us different data types. So hash is a numerical value. Whenever we have a numerical value present in that particular column will be provided with the data type of hash, which means it has a numerical values in that particular column.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So now this new thing is called as a dimension. I guess you are clear with the dimension and measures. Why we have two parts here, right? So in order to segregate the qualitative and quantitative values, we have these two parts. So these are the quantitative values. These are the qualitative or the categorical values. Okay. So let's move on with the first question here. So the first question is basically to understand how the data, how we can visualize sales with respect to the what we can take is product, or else we can say category. Okay. So how basically the sales, okay, is how we can visualize sales versus category here. Okay. So let's take the first thing. So exactly use of the that's what Pritam. Okay. In Excel, you won't be able to handle a huge data. Okay. Let's say you have millions of data. It won't be able to handle that, right? So, and you cannot also connect it to a data source. Excel won't provide, in order to connect to all the different data source connectivities. Okay, so that's the one of the biggest reason why it is Tableau is preferred over the Excel. In Excel, you won't have this drag and drop. I'll tell you what is this drag and drop. How you can, just within 2 seconds you can get a visualization. Okay. Now what we will do is we will create our first visualization.
Sir, is it similar to SQL's, like SQL is a work automate system, so there is also.
Sorry.
It is also related to SQL's, right?
SQL. SQL. See, there is no connection to SQL. Okay. So the only thing with respect to SQL is how there is, let's say you have a SQL database, okay, somewhere stored in a certain cloud. Okay. In order to access that data present in that SQL or SQL database, you can just use that particular connector. Okay. It is not, the concepts are not related to SQL. Okay. All right. Let's do the first visualization here. The first visualization here is basically to understand between the sales and categories. Okay. For that, what I will do is I'll take sales here. Okay. Take this sale, drag it, and drop it on my. Should we do it with the rows or with the columns? Let's do it with the row itself. Okay. I will drop it on the rows. Okay. Then I will take the category and drop it on the column. Sure. Okay. Take the category, drop it on the columns. Okay. Take the sale, drop it on the rows. Okay. So once you do this, right, so you will get this quick visualization here saying furniture has a sale of 742,000. Okay. And office supplies has also the 719,000 sales, and sales of technology as well. Plus, please repeat this step. Which step, baby?
This one wherein we are showing these bars, I actually missed it. How did you do it?
All right. See, the first thing is, let me redo this again. Okay. The first thing, since I want to understand the relation between sales and categories here, right? So what I'll do, I'll take this sales present in this measure, okay, measure part. I'll take this, click on this, okay, click and drag and drop to the rows here. Okay. Then I will take category, drag it and drop it on the columns. Okay, so this is our first visualization. You got it just in 2 seconds. So since it is not possible in order to get this quick with respect to Excel, okay, and it is very simple to understand.
Sir, here always we should put measures only in rows and categories in columns, or vice versa can be done.
No. There is no restriction for that. Okay, I can just not toggle between this. I can just put it here and this thing here. Sorry, there is category to this row here. Okay, so this basically gives me the vertical bar. Okay, if I toggle this. Okay, let me put it back where it is. Basically get the horizontal bar itself. Okay, so we'll start with the
Sir, I
horizontal
have
bar.
only one doubt on that, the measures and categories. So measures is basically something which is continuous numbers or something like that, and category is
Exactly.
something which is at different types in it. That is what.
Exactly. See, dimension, we can also say them as a categories. Okay. These dimensions or a category consisting of values that are qualitative. Okay, which are not continuous. Okay. So these measures are nothing but quantitative values which are continuous in nature. Okay,
Sir, in
so
that
you can
case,
see
the row ID is continuous, right? Then why is it put it in category?
sorry, just a second.
Row ID,
Just a second.
that is a continuous numbers, right? It should also be in that case measures.
All right, see, let's go with the row ID, what basically it is. Yeah, so here we have a row ID. Okay. Okay, so this row ID has a numbers here, continuous numbers, right? So what you can do for your preference, what you can do, you can just drag it, okay, take it and drop it in the measures. Okay, you can also do it. Okay, sometimes Tableau might not able to do such intelligent features over the data. Okay, at such situation you can just drag and drop it. Okay. Fine. Is this fine? Everyone got this first visualization?
Yes.
If you got it, let's move on with the second thing what we can do with respect to this. Okay, so now if I see here, I'm not able to see what exactly the sales I can for this furniture or office supply. What is the sales, right? So I can only see it when I drag my mouse over this particular bar, right? So in order to see or in order to label the sales value over my bar, right? What I can do is I can just take the sales, okay, drag it and drop it on the label which is present in this marks card. Okay, so this is the card which is called as a marks here. Okay, so here I can see there is a label, right? So I can just drag this sales from here, from the data to on this label. Okay, so when I drag and drop that, right, so this basically labels the sales. What is the sales for this particular category? Okay, so this gives me that particular number on the sheet itself. Okay, so now I don't know what currency basically this sales is representing, right? I want to make a changes to this, format this, okay, get this in the form of a currency value, right? So let's say I want to give it in the form of a 742K, okay, or I can do dollar of 742K in this format, right? So how can I do that? In order to do this, what I can do is I can just click on this sale or whatever the sale we can see here. the green part. Click on this drop menu. Okay, click on format. Okay, click on this down arrow here. You can see here, right? So click on this, click format on that again. Okay, so if you do that, okay, at the left side you can see two things here. One is axis, another is pane. Okay, so since whatever the data, okay, the data that is present in the pane itself, okay, so this is my axis, the data, whatever the label data is present on the pane, not on the axis, right? So hence I will select pane here. Okay, I will choose the default itself. Default
Sir,
and numbers.
so how did we got the sales and marks column? How did we
Sales and
get this here?
this thing?
Yeah, how did we
Label.
got that into marks column?
The marks column.
This one
sorry,
below this label tooltip. How did we got get this?
which one you are basically referring to?
Yeah, this one. This one. Yeah, same.
This one. See, we
This
got this
some
because
sales, na? How did we got that?
it will, by default you will get it. Okay, so by default, right? Whenever you take the data into Tableau, right? By default, whatever the measure, right? So it will be aggregated to the sum by default. Okay, so if I take profit here and give it on the labels, by default it will give me the sum itself. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
It's a default aggregated value. We did not change anything here. So we will discuss also how to change it to average and other aggregations. Okay. So now, where were we? So we were on the formatting the numbers here with respect to this particular label. Okay. So now what I will do, I will click on this number. Okay, and I will go to currency, which is a standard here. So now I will select the dollars, right? So I need to select the dollars. What I will do is I'll say US, okay, or I'll say United, okay, United States. Okay, I will get these many options here. United States with respect to English or with respect to Spanish. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll select English United States here. Okay, once I click on this, as you can see, there's a dollar appear in the pane here or in the sheet, right? So now what I want to do is, other thing is, I want to convert this to 741K. Okay, I don't want this 1000. Okay, I want to give it a what you can say, a display unit for this. Okay, I want to remove this decimal as well, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go to the next thing, which is currency custom. Okay, so here I will do go to this decimal place, reduce the 2 to 0. Okay, so this basically eradicates the decimal points here, or the decimal numbers. Okay, now what I will do, I can just change the display unit to 1000, which is K here, or else I can make it to millions, since whatever the value we have with respect to sales can be added to this thousands, not with respect to millions, right? So I will add it to the thousands itself, okay, based on the range. Okay, now it basically converted to dollar of 742K. Okay, so this is how you can basically format the label here. Okay, so this is with respect to label. Okay, so how can I want to do the same thing with respect to the sales axis, right? So what I will do, I will click on the sales. Okay, I will right click on this. Okay, then I will again go to the format session. I will get the same thing saying format sum of sales. Okay, so with respect to this, sorry, I need to close this. Okay, again do with respect to format. What is it? United States. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so I want to change the sales, right? I want to get the same format for the sales axis as well. So what I can do, I'll close this. First of all, I'll close this and I will go to this row here, which has a sum of sales, right? So this basically representing the axis here, right? So I will click on this and I will say format. again I'm getting this. Okay, so this is with respect to pane, right? So I'm getting this respect to pane here, but I want to change it on the axis here, right? So what I'll do, I'll click on the axis. Okay, so here I can see numbers, scale, right? So here it is the scale between 0 to 900k, right? So here I want to change the numbers for this, format the numbers. So I'll do the same thing what I did with respect to labels. I'll say United, English, United States, come to the custom currency, remove the decimals, queue the unit as a 1000k. Okay. Once I do this, I can see the changes on my axis. Okay, in the dollar format with the display unit of K for 1000. Okay, is this clear? Is this clear with respect to formatting the axis as well as pane here?
So
If that's
just show that custom currency once.
Sorry.
That custom currency.
Okay. See, whenever I want to make a changes to this, okay, right? Either with respect to label, okay, whatever the label we have here. So what I can do, since I have dragged and dropped the labels over the marks card, right? So if I want to make a changes to this, I can just click on this drop down button. Okay, click on format and then go to pane. Okay, since this label is present on the pane, not on the axis. Okay, hence I will select pane here. And by default, I will go to the default section and I will click on this number section. Okay, so here I'll click on drop down, go to the currency standard. Okay, search for United. Okay, I will select English United States. Okay, so once I'm done with this, giving the currency, then I will move with the numbers. Okay, I want to remove this decimal. I'll say decimal place of 0. Then I will, I want to change the display unit here. I want to make it in the form of 1000 units. I'll say 1000k in the display units of this. Okay. So this is with respect to the pane. Okay. How can I change with respect to the axis? I can just toggle here. Okay. If I just toggle here, it comes with respect to the formatting of a sum of sales with respect to axis here. Okay. Here in the scale, I can just go to these numbers, do the same thing which I did with respect to the label pane. Is this clear? All right. So now I got these many changes to this, right? So let's say I want to make this more colorful, right? I want to make this graph more colorful. How can I do it? I can do the two ways. One is I can make it more colorful with respect to sales. Okay, I can make it colorful with respect to the categories, right? So what I'll do, let's do it with the help of a category itself, okay, which makes more sense. So what I'll do, I'll take this category, drag and drop it on the colors. Take this category, drag and drop on this colors present in the marks card. Okay, so once you do this, okay, you will get this legend here. Okay, this legend saying that blue is for furniture, orange is for office supplies, this pink is for technology. Right? Is this clear? Okay. So now let's say I want to swap it. Okay. So this is my horizontal bar, right? Let's say I want to get it in the vertical bars. Okay. I want to represent this entire thing in the vertical bars. What I can do is I can just use this swap columns and rows. Okay. So if I click on this swap, okay, so this gives me the horizontal representation of bar chart.
Sir, how did you do the swap? Can you just show 1 second?
Sorry.
How did you do that swap? Which came now for the line bar.
See, you can just go here. Okay. So there is this. Let me show this. Okay. You can just click on this. Okay. If you click on this, you will basically swap between horizontal and vertical. Okay. So now,
Yeah. Okay, fine.
if I look at this data, right? So I will keep it, in this vertical itself. Now I want to sort the data. I want the highest first, lowest second, okay, the second lowest and the third lowest. I want to sort this particular bar here. How can I do this? I can go to the same, toolbar here. Okay. So since I want it in the form of a descending order, right? So if I want first highest, second lowest, and the third lowest, right? So it is a descending. So I will click on this, okay, icon, which is says sorted descending by sum of sales within categories. I'll click on this. Okay. So this basically rearranges based on the highest sales. Okay. Let's say I want to based on the lowest sales. I can just click the other icon here. Okay. This will give me the ascending order.
Sir, I have only one doubt. We are understanding this chart. Can this chart be put in PowerPoint PPT?
Yes, you can put it in the PPT. For that, you have this option here in the file menu. Okay. So here you can convert to a local. See, you can save it in the Tableau public as a worksheet. But if you have a, if you don't have the access to Tableau desktop, okay, you cannot convert into a PPT format. Usually, if you have this product of desktop, right, so you can either convert into a PDF, okay, or with respect to PPT format or any other format that are provided, basically used for presenting the data, right? So all those can be converted. Since this is a free version, restricted version, so you cannot basically convert it, but you can publish it. Okay, so you can publish it on a Tableau public community. Okay, so there is this community which gives you a profile of basically publishing your entire visualization there. Okay, so that's the only thing that you can do with respect to public. So don't worry on desktop. Once you see, once you get into the corporate world and company gives you that access for Tableau desktop. Okay, so this is public version is basically for learning and understanding the interface. Right?
Okay, okay, sir. Fine.
Sir, let us know how can it copy the graph and send to anyone in the mail body?
The mail body.
Yes, if someone required send me graph, so how can we copy and paste in the mail body and send to anyone?
See, this is not, as I said previously, right? So you cannot do this using the Tableau public. If you have, the Tableau desktop version access, okay, so you can basically, convert this entire thing to PPT or, with respect to PDF, and you can share it. Okay, you cannot just share it through the mail itself. That is not possible here. Okay, it is not possible with respect to public. Okay, so now we saw two things here with respect to marks card, which is colors and labels. What about this size? Okay, so let's see the size here. Let's say I want to see the sales, the bars based on the size here. If it has a higher sales, okay, I can have a bigger size bar. If it has a low sales, we will have a smaller size bar. Okay, for that, what I'll do, I'll drag the sales and drop it on the size. You can see there is a decrease in the size of this bars. Okay. So what about this detail? Detail is nothing but it is a dimensional, basically use a dimensional, the measures data here. Okay, like if I just drag and drop the profit over the details, and if I take my mouse pointer and hover it my bar, I can see there is a profit. Okay, I can see the detail of a profit on the hovering of the mouse. Okay, if I just remove this sum of profit from here by dragging and taking out of this card, now if I hover my mouse over again on the bar, I am not able to see the same profit here. Okay, so now let's say I want to see the quantity. I just drag and drop on the details. I can see the quantity here. What are the quantity that has quantity of product that has been sold, or the sale value. So what about the tooltip? Tooltip is nothing but let's see what can do with this. Take a profit here. Right, tooltip. Okay, so it also gives the same thing. Okay. Don't worry. So you won't be much using this tooltip here. So you will be basically using all these four things. Okay. So again, with respect to the size, you can see there is a legend at the right side. Okay. So once you get this right, so you need to. So these are the steps that you need to perform once you get the visualization. That is, you need to color the bars. Okay. And you need to format the axis as well as the what do you call the label. Okay, so you need to do all these things once you drag and drop. You can color it, label it, increase the size or decrease the size based on the visual understanding of the data here. Okay, so this increased size basically tells me that there is the highest size. Okay. All these visual manners basically helps a stakeholder to understand properly what's basically going on with respect to the company data. Okay. So now, one more thing, okay, one more recommended thing or the mandatory thing to do is, by default, it will be in the form of a standard itself. Okay, everyone will get in this format itself. What you need to do is you need to click here, okay, in this view from standard, you need to put it to the entire view. Okay, so this is must thing because whenever we move to the dashboard, right, creating a dashboard, so if we have it in the standard, it may get some of the jumbled bars there. Okay, we will look into that. What basically jumbled bars we get. Okay, so that's the one thing. Okay, so these are the things that you basically need to perform over your data that you get a visualization. Okay, so let's see the different graphs or the visualization we can implement. Okay, so we will see how we can incorporate some of the different visualizations that we have seen either with respect to in the previous class or what are the different charts we have. We will see those things. Okay, for that what I'll do first of all I'll take subcategory. Okay, subcategory and drag and drop it to the columns, and I will again take let's take a discount, okay, and drop it on the rows. Okay, so this will give me a bar chart. Okay, so the first visualization chart or the type of chart is called as a bar chart, right? So this is the vertical. Okay, just double click on this sheet number. Okay, double click, you will be able to edit the sheet name here. Okay, so I will say vertical bar chart. Okay, the first bar chart we get is this is the vertical bar chart by default. Okay, so let's say I want to get a horizontal one. What I can do? I can do the same thing. Discount to the rows and subcategories to the columns, and I will swap it. Okay, swap it and sort it. Okay, so then I will again drag discounts to the label. I'll get the discount there. Okay, if I want to color it based on the discount, I can just drag and drop on the colors. If you see now, okay, so there is a color change. Okay, with respect to discount here. As you can see in the legend itself, it says 11 is the minimum. Okay, 567 is the maximum. Minimum will get a lower color. Okay, and the maximum color, maximum value will get a high order color here. Okay, which is a much darker. Right. So this is how you can see with respect to measures here. Whenever you are coloring the bars here. But what if I do with respect to the subcategory itself? If I color it, I'll get a different colors for each of these categories. Okay. So since we have more than one categories here, so hence it does not make any sense of giving the colors here. Okay. Hence I'm giving the colors with respect to discount. Okay. So this is with respect to what? horizontal bar. Okay, so this is our second type of visualization. Okay, so let me duplicate the same thing here. Okay, I'll take this horizontal bar itself and I will say duplicate. Okay, so this is my duplicated saying in the form of a 2 here, right? So now using the same thing, okay, instead of doing the clicking on the sheet and clicking on the sheet, then dragging and dropping here, I don't want to do that. Okay, hence I basically duplicated this. So now what I want to do is I want to change this to some other graphs. Okay, so as I previously said, Tableau is one of the intelligence tool, right? So it will basically understand your data and gives us the recommendation. Previously said it will give us the recommendation, right? So that can be seen here in the show me, okay, which is at the right top. Okay, here if you click on show me, it will give me a different recommendation. Either it can be a text table, it can be a heat map, it can be a highlight table. Okay, it can be with respect to pie chart or a horizontal bar, stacked bar. It can be also the tree map and a path bubbles. Okay, so let's see what is with respect to the text table here. Okay, if I click on this text table, okay, and I will make it as an entire view. Okay, so this gives me in the form of a table data visuals. Okay, so this is with respect to with respect to text tables. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll rename this to text tables. Okay, so this is how you can basically convert any bar to recommended. In this case, it is text tables. Okay, so let me again duplicate this. Okay, so now what I want is I want to convert this entire thing to heat map. Okay, so I want this in the form of a heat map. So how can I do? I can just go to show me. Again, go here and click on this heat map, which is the second one. Okay, if you see here, the heat map. Okay, as you can see, heat map. Okay, I can see there is at the bottom. I can see it accepts one or more dimensions. Okay, so in order to create a heat map, you need to have at least one dimension. Okay, or you need to have a more than one dimension. Okay, that's the one condition. And the other condition is in the measures. Okay, in the measures you need to have either one or two measures in order to get this heat map. Okay, so now both the condition are satisfying with this particular text table. Okay, I can convert into a heat map now. If I click on this, so this basically gives a heat map with respect to sizes here. Okay, as you can see, the larger the size, the larger the discount here. Okay, so let me make it to entire view. Okay, so this is with respect to subcategory versus discounts. Okay. Let's say I want to add one more category to this. Only on cleaning the data. Yes, it is possible. Right? You can use the Tableau prep for this in order to clean the data. But whatever the data you take, right? Whatever the case studies we solve with respect to Tableau, either from the Tableau community, okay. So those data are basically the clean data. Okay. Even in the corporate world, you basically get the clean data. Whatever the data stored in the data servers or in the database, those are basically the clean one. So these clean data either used by the machine learner engineers, okay, or with respect to data analyst. Okay, so those are the guys who basically use these clean data, which are already cleaned by the data engineers.
Sir, at least in the next class, can you show us a video on how helping that EDA, how we can do EDA using via Tableau?
Yes, yes. We will discuss. Okay, as we move ahead, right, we will discuss how we can incorporate some of the models like a linear regression model. How can we do the clustering here? We will look into this. Okay. So now let's say in this table, okay, I want to improve, bring one more, what we can say, one more dimension to this. Okay, so I want to bring category to this, right? So what I can do, I just drag and drop here itself. Okay, so I can drag and drop the categories, or else I can shuffle it here. Okay, so once I shuffle it, I will get it based on the category as well as subcategory. Okay, is this fine? All right, let me show you one more sheet with respect to heat map. This is the dashboard. Yeah. Okay, for this, what we'll do is we'll do two things. So we'll take discount here, or else we can take order date. Let's take order date here. We will see how basically sales are going with respect to order dates. Where is the order date? Yeah, I'll drag and drop the order date to the columns. Okay, again I will drag and drop the order date to the rows here. Okay, so now what I will do, I'll take the sales, drag and drop it on this particular sheet here. As you can see, there is a rectangular bar, right? So I will drag and drop the sales here. Okay, so this by default it will fill out all this. It will basically fill out all the sales with respect to that particular date. Okay, now what I need to do is I want to see the sales per year as well as per month. Okay, I want a month in this particular in this particular site, okay, or in this particular rows here. In this column I want to keep the years as it is. Okay, so for this what I can do, I can just go to this particular column, and I can do is I can click on this down arrow. Okay, convert this to months. Sorry, we converted the columns here. We need to take this row one. Okay. Click on the month. Okay, so now what I basically did is I converted the year. Okay, so this year to monthly wise sales here for that particular year. Okay, in January 2011, I made these many number of sales. In 12, I made 12 with respect to January. I made these number of sales. Okay, so now how can I convert this to heat map? I can just go to show me, click on heat map. Sorry. Let me swap this. It takes sales to colors. We cannot convert this to basically the heat map. So whatever the heat map that we are basically looking at. Okay. So we will look at some other example with respect to heat map. Okay. So this is one of the heat map. Okay, where we can color it. If I want to drag and drop discount, let me drag and drop. This is the previous sheet. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm dragging this discount to colors. Okay, so I can see higher has higher the darker the color, and lower will have a lighter color. Okay. Let's say I want to convert this to a tree map. Okay. Oh, can I convert into a tree map? This is the recommendation I'm getting here. Yes, I can convert this to a tree map. Okay, let's understand this tree map. What this basically telling us here. Okay. As you can see, there is this thick white line here. Okay, so this white thick line basically tells that it is a basically the categorized data here. Okay, so this entire one box. This is the entirely one category, Okay, so this is the entirely the second category, and this is the third category here. Okay, so this is how the tree map is basically segregated in this format. Okay, so the darker the color is, the higher the sales in that particular year or the month. Drag order ID to the columns and rows. I getting a pop-up filter or yes. See, whenever you drag and drop, the order ID or the customer name, right? So you'll get this pop-up. Let me. I'll show this. Okay. What did you do? Year and monthly filters. See, for this, what you can do is you can just drag and drop the order date, both the rows and columns. Okay, and take the sales and drop it here. Okay. Now I only want the months in this particular rows. What I'll do, I'll just click on this and I will select month. Okay, so that's how you can basically do it. Okay, so now looking into this tree map here. Okay, so this is basically segregated tree map. Okay, based on the category. Okay, this is with respect to entirely with the 2014, and then 2013 and 14 are separated by this white thick. Okay, let me show this. Okay, so this white thick line here, and this 14 and 11 is separated by this another white thick line. Okay, so this is how basically the hierarchy of the tree map shown in this format. Okay. So this is how you can basically represent the tree map. Okay. So if you want to change the color, let's say I want to change this color, right? So what I can do, I can go to this legend here. Okay. Click on this drop down button. Okay, and I'll say edit colors. Here, by default, it will automatically assign this gradient of blue and white. If I want to change it to orange, you can click on orange. If I want to change it to sunrise, sunset, divergent, I can choose this and I can say apply. Okay, so you can change the colors based on your preference. Okay, for now I'll choose it orange itself. Okay, I'll choose the orange. Okay, so this is how you can basically change it. Okay, so let's take this horizontal bar itself. Let me duplicate this again. Okay, so now using the same columns and row data, I want to convert this to a bubble chart. Okay, so how can I convert? I can just go to the show me, then I will click this on this pack bubbles. If I click on this, so this basically gives a bubble chart for all the different subcategories. Okay, I can see these subcategories with the discount on this. Right. I'll just
Sir,
remove
can you
the.
just tell me for what all things this bubble chart will be used? Say, for example, what kind of presentation this bubble chart graph can be used?
Sure, we will look into that as well. See, bubble charts are basically. Let me see. The bubble charts, okay, are primarily used to depict, show the relation between the numerical numbers or numerical values here. Okay, if you see in this graph here, okay, if I want to show the relation between these variables, so now I have a blend, binder, furniture. I want to show the relation between them. Okay, with respect to discount, I want to show the relation. At such situation, I will use this bubble chart here. Okay.
Similarly, we can do something related to sales and how discount is impacting on sales. That also can be done, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. Someone says some bubbles are empty. Subrat, you're getting empty.
I mean, sir,
No,
some
in your
like,
chart also there are some bubbles which is empty.
I think names
Names
are
are
not
not
mentioned.
reflected.
That's what I'm asking.
Just a second. One at a time, please.
I'm saying like you can see to above the blinder bubble, some bubbles are empty. Why it is?
Okay, here, see, that's because we are not able to enlarge it and place the proper category values here. I mean, the name here. Okay, you cannot just incorporate or have a names here. Hence, you are getting a empty. But if you drag and drag your mouse over this, you will get the detailed thing. Okay. If I let's say just a second. Let's say I will make this from standard to entire view. Okay, I can see some of the bubbles got the name to that particular bubble here. Okay. Okay, so this is with respect to bubble chart, and let's see. Let's take a line chart here. What this is with respect to bubble chart. Okay, so this is the text table, and this is the heat map. This is the tree map, and this one is we don't know this. Let's select this. Let's create one more sheet here. Okay, let's see what are the other things we can do. Okay, let's do with the line chart itself. How can we see the timeline of sales that has been getting with respect to year from, let's see what are the years we get with respect to order date. So now what we'll do is we'll get a line chart over the years for a sale. Okay, so let me drag the rows, the sale to the rows, and then order dates to the column. Okay, so this basically gives me the line chart here. Okay, if you see here, okay, so by default, the graph we get here is a aggregated one. Okay, so if I see here, by default, in the analysis part, we are getting the aggregated measures. Okay, so keep that in mind. By default, basically Tableau gives the aggregated measures. Okay, so now what I want to do is over this graph, okay, I want to get this based on the monthly wise, not by the year. Okay, I want to see it based on the month wise, how the sales is basically going on. What I can do, I can just click on this and I'll say month. Okay, I'll click on this and I'll say month. Okay, so this basically gives me the sales over the month, particular month here. Okay.
Sir, in the similar pattern, can you show how to do it for quarters, Q1, Q2, Q3?
Q1, Q3, you can basically select instead of month, you can just select the quarters here. Okay, so if you see here, so this is with respect to discrete. Okay, whatever we did here, right? So this is with respect to the discrete thing. If I want to make it with respect to the continuous, okay, let's say I want to make it continuous with respect to quarter one of for that particular year, quarter one for 2011, quarter one for 2012. Okay, I want to see with respect to all the years, not just with discrete values here. Okay, what I can do is here I can just say continuous. Okay, I can just select this, or I can just click on this quarter, which is the second thing. Okay, so if you see here on this is all the year, quarter, all these things are with respect to discrete. Okay, this entire thing is with respect to discrete, and this entire thing is with respect to continuous. Okay, continuous order date. This is with respect to continuous, discrete order dates here. Okay, if I basically previously I click on quarters, right? So this was with respect to discrete order dates, but I don't want this. I want quarterly with respect to all the years, which is basically the continuous, right? So what I will do, I'll click on this and I will say quarter for continuous. This will get me the based on the quarter wise. But our aim is to get based on the month wise, continuous month, right? So I will click on month. Okay, And if I say discrete here, okay, if I select, the month, continuous months, okay, and if I select discrete here, okay, so this will give me all the months, okay. So previously, if I selected continuous, right, so this was giving me only the years, but it was not giving the months. Even if I selected a months of the particular continuous, right? So in order to get that, okay, so what I need to do, I need to make this order date as a discrete. Okay, so this gives me the sales over the month of that particular year, whatever the years that has been covered in the data from 2011 to 2014 with all the months. Okay, so this is how we basically get the line chart. So now if you see, there is a legend here, right? So as I can see, I can drag and drop. Everyone getting this legend, or everyone getting the different legend here? Getting the same legend?
Sir, I did not understand the discrete continuous something what you told for this year exactly. Can you just repeat that?
See, so this is something complex, okay? So you will get to understand once you start practicing all this, okay? So let me tell you once again here, okay? So now let me drag and drop the order date again here, okay? So now, whatever the output I get by default, right? So this is a discrete one, okay? Based on the year, I'm only getting the year 2020, 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014 here. Now my aim is to get it based on the month wise, right? So what I will do, I'll just select the month here, okay? But if you see here, if you see the data here, it is basically giving me the discrete, okay, discrete sales. I don't know which year it is, right? So I don't know which year, hence I can consider this as a discrete value, okay? But I want it based on the, let's say I want it based on January 2011, February 2011, and so on, right? So that becomes continuous, right? So what I will do, I will go here again, instead of selecting on the discrete, what I will do, I'll select it on the months. So this gives me the continuous. If you see here, I am getting February 2011. Previously, I only got a February with the sales. Here, I'm getting both February for particular year. And if I move on here, I'm getting for 2012 and so on, right? Now, what I can do is, so this is with respect to continuous years. I'm getting with respect to continuous years. I'm still not getting the months here, right? So what I'll do, I'll just again select a discrete. Okay. So this gives me the output that I'm basically looking. Okay. Let's say I want it based on the days. I can select on this, I'll get it based on the days. Okay, continuous days. Okay, hence I'm selected in the continuous days here. See, I'm making this as a discrete. That's because since whatever the values we have with respect to order date is a basically the discrete value itself. Okay, so hence I'm basically selecting by default, not by default, by making it as a discrete itself. Go back to month itself. Okay, so now this is my line graph, right? Let's say I want to get it with a profit as well. I want to incorporate one more line to this, which only indicates the profit. So what I'll do, I'll take this profit and drop it on the rows. Okay, when I drop it on the rows, I'm getting a two graphs. I'm not getting in the one graph itself, right? So what I need to do, I need to merge these two axes. I mean, merge two lines in a single particular view here, right? So what I'll do, so I'll click on this, okay, and I will select it is, yeah. So before this, in order to merge these, right? So I can just go to show me here itself. Okay, show me here, and I will click on this particular lines itself. Okay, I can click on this. Where is this dual axis? Yeah, as you can see here, when I click, right click on this, I can see there is a dual axis option. Okay, so this dual axis option basically combines the two axes. Okay, so here I have a two axis here, right? So if I want to combine these both the axes, okay, what I can do, I can just click on the dual axis. Okay, so this basically converts or from two axes to a single axis here, basically combines the axis. But if you see here the values, okay, whatever the bins we have or whatever the the values we have, it is with respect to basically starting with a 0k. But here I'm getting the negative, which is minus 20k. I need to match the both the axes here, right? So how can I match the both the axes here? So I'll click on the sales. Okay, so here there is a one more option called as a synchronize the axis. So this basically synchronize both the axes here. Okay, so if I click synchronize over this will basically synchronize with respect to profit. If I click on this, it will synchronize based on the profit. Okay, so this is how you can see both the profit and the sales axis on the same worksheet. Okay, so let me repeat this again. So where it is? Yeah. So for this, in order to see the profit and as well as sales over the trend line, okay, what I'll do, I'll just drag the sales to rows over the particular months, right? So what I'll do, I'll convert this to months. Okay, so when I convert this to months, this will basically convert into a continuous one. Okay, so I don't want this in a continuous one, I want it in a discrete. So I'll select discrete here. So this is how the trend line get. Okay, so now what I want to is I want the profit as well on this particular axis. So what I'll do, I'll just drag and drop the profit on the rows. Okay, so this gives me a two axis here, but I want all both the lines in the same axis. Hence I'll do on the profit, I'll click and I'll say dual axis. It will combine, but the values are not similar with respect to both the axes here. So what I'll do, I'll click on this profit and I'll say synchronize axis. Okay, so this will give me the proper one. Okay, everyone got this? All right. So now let me take two things here. Okay, so basically what we did previously, we took one categorical and one is basically one dimension and one measure. What if I take what if I want to understand the relation between the sales and profit? Okay, how these two variables are basically relating to one another. What I'll do, I'll just drag profit here and sales. Okay, so now I'll get a single data point here. This single data point is nothing but a sum of both sales and a profit, which is basically we call it as an aggregate value, right? So now I don't want this single value. I want data values for both sales and profit, right? Over these axes. So what I'll do, I'll click on this analysis. See, previously I said aggregate measure will be by default from the Tableau itself. Okay, over the measures by default, it will select the aggregated measure, which is the sum. We got the sum, right? So hence we need to deselect it in order to get all the data values here. Okay, again you will see here there is no sum. Okay, so you will basically get the count of it, count of all the data values. Is this clear? So this aggregate basically what it does, let me go back. Okay, by default, okay, it will give me the sum of sales and sum of profit. Okay, hence I'm only getting a single data point here, right? So I don't want it. I want all the data points with respect to profit and sale, how this basically segregated over the this particular chart. I want to see that. Okay, so for that what I will do, I'll remove this default, okay, default aggregate by clicking on this. So this basically removes that particular aggregate. Okay, now I'm getting the all the data values or the data points with respect to sales and profit. Let me swipe this. Okay, so this is how we can see with respect to positive profit and versus negative profit here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to cluster this. I want to cluster it based on or how can we cluster here? Let's see. Model cluster based on categories. Let me drop it here. Okay, so let's say I want to make a clustering over this. Okay, I want to apply the cluster model over this. Okay, for this, what I'll do is I'll go to this analytics. Okay, and I'll click on this analytics. Okay, here I can see a model part. In this, I have many other things like average with 95% CI. Okay, for now we will be basically using last three one. Okay, trend lines for forecast as well as a cluster. Okay, now let's say I want to cluster these data points, right? So what I'll do, I'll drag this cluster, okay, and drop it on create cluster. Okay, I'll drop it on this. Okay, so this will create two clusters, either with respect to profit or with respect to sales here. Okay, so as you can see, there is one more cluster, which is cluster 3. Why are we getting a third cluster here? That because the whatever the third cluster data points are, right? So these are far away from this particular group. Okay, so these are far away from this particular group, hence they are getting the third cluster here. So let me show
Sorry,
this.
you mean to say that red ones are something like the outliers?
Yes, these are basically the outliers. You can consider them as the outliers or the third clusters. Okay. So this is one cluster, this is the second cluster, and this is the third cluster. Okay, so this is how you basically incorporate the cluster model in the Tableau. Is this clear? You want me to repeat this?
Yes.
Sure. So what I'll do, I want to understand the relation between sales, right? So I'll take sales and as well as the profit. Okay, so this basically gives me the by default this sum of sales and profit. Okay, so now I need to change this so that I get all the data values with respect to sales and profit. Okay, so hence I need to remove that by default aggregate value, right? So which is present here. I need to remove this. I'll click on this to remove. Okay, so then I basically swap this so that I get a clear idea of how much negative profit data points are, how much positive profit data points are here. So now I got this graph. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to implement the cluster model over this sales and profit. So what I'll do, I'll go to this analytics, which is on the left side. Okay, on this, I'll take this cluster, drag and drop on this create cluster. Okay, so then it will give me a pop-up saying that these are the two variables we are basically looking into, and the number of clusters. Okay, let's say by default it will gives me the automatic. Okay, so by default it will identify those clusters. Let's say I want it only 2. Okay, I can just say 2 here. We'll take it automatically for now, so that we can easily identify the outliers or the third clusters. Okay, so this basically gives the cluster model. Okay.
What is this depicting basically?
See, this basically telling us, what are some of the outliers we have. Okay, so what is the sales, the highest sales we can see. Okay, here some of the basically we can just say the outliers itself. We can see the outliers here. If you are familiar with the cluster model, okay.
So this
You will be
graph is
getting
actually
No,
telling.
like when we created clusters, it just changed the color.
Mhm.
What apart from that happened?
Apart from that,
Because these outliers were already there.
yeah, there. See, if you are familiar with the cluster thing, okay, so you can easily pick what basically happened here. Okay, so since I guess you are not covered with the machine learning, right?
So can
So
you
once
say
you
it like this? For example, for 2K, 5K sales, or for the region between 0K to 5K, sales, we have around 0 to 2K of profit because major of the cluster is there, something like that. Is it something like that?
Yeah, you can say that as well. Okay, so that's the one thing, and the other thing is basically getting the outliers. That's it. And understanding the different distribution of data values. That's the other thing, how data is distributed here. Or you can say, what is the sales that we are basically getting? What is the range of sales? Where basically clusters are getting in which range? You can basically get the insight of that. Okay. All right. Let's see one more model here. Okay, we'll take the same thing. Let's take this, the line itself, line graph itself. So we'll take the sales here. Okay, so now we will try to understand the forecast here. Okay, so we will try to understand the forecast. Let's say I want to predict the sales after, let's say, 1 year. Okay, how can I do that? Let me take order date here with respect to timeline. This is order date. Okay, so I will get it with respect to months, and I will again convert these to discrete. Okay, so this is my line here. Okay, line graph. Now I want to forecast what is the sales I will be getting after 2014th of September. Okay, for this, what I'll do, I'll take this forecast, drag and drop it here. Okay, so now if I see here, I can see a forecast. Okay, so I can see a forecast for December 2014, 2015, March, September 15. What could be the forecast value here? Okay, so this will be predicted using this forecast model. Okay, so that is with respect to the forecast. So let's say I want to get the forecast of next 1 year. Okay, what will be the sales after that? For now, I have a data between 2011 to 2014. Okay, so what would be the sales? Okay, based on this historical
Could you just,
data.
show that forecast again?
Yeah, I will show it. I will show it. Okay, I'm repeating it again. Just listen it carefully. Okay, I have this historical data between 2011 to 2014. Okay, using this historical data, I want to predict the sales. What would be the sales in the next 1 year? Okay, so for that, what I will do, first of all, I will see using the historical data, I will see how basically the sales are basically getting in the particular date frame or the timeline here. So for this, what I'll do, I will take a order date. Okay, and I will take the sales. Okay, so I'll try to get based on the month, continuous month, but I want to keep it in the form of a discrete itself. Okay, so this is how basically you will get the line graph for the sales and a particular timeline of a order date. Okay, so now I want to get the forecast or the predict. I want to predict the next year's sales, right? So for that, what I can do is I can use this one of the model in the analytics. Okay, I'll drag this forecast and I'll drop it here. Okay, so once I do this, I'll basically get the forecast value for the next 2015. Okay, so from December 14 to next December 2015. Let me take the same thing here. Let me duplicate this. Okay, let me remove the forecast here. Okay, instead of this, let me duplicate this cluster model itself. Okay. I'll take the duplicate of this cluster model, remove the clusters here. I'll go to analytics part. Okay, here I can see there is a trend line, one more model called as a trend line. Okay, now if I try to drag and drop and get the linear trend line or a logarithmic, exponential, polynomial, okay, I can get all these things. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll first drag and drop it on the linear itself. Okay, so based on the data itself, I'll get a trend line for the linear one. If I hover my mouse over the particular line, I will get a the r squared value. What is the r squared value and what is the p value for that particular two variables, which is profit and sales.
Sir, can you just tell me what does this indicate? The profit relating
See, in
to
machine
R
learning,
and
right?
P value.
Yes, yes. See, in machine learning, you will try to implement this model, right? Implement model with respect to linear regression, right? Using the
Yeah.
graph or using the visualization using matplotlib, right? This is similar to that. How can we do that with respect to Tableau?
Okay.
Okay, so you have a different logarithmic, exponential, polynomial. Okay, so you can use all these different things that what you previously did with respect to in Python itself, in machine learning, okay, or with respect to ED. All right, so that is with respect to the analytics part of Tableau. So now coming to filters. Let's understand filters. How can we filter the data? Okay, so you may get the question, what is filter? Filters are nothing but the restricted data. You can say the restricted data contents that we want to see it on this particular dashboard. Okay, so let's see how we can incorporate the filters over the data. So for this, what I'll do, let me take okay, before moving on with the filters, let me I forgot to mention one more map or one more visualization, which is a map. Okay, so which is the symbol maps or with respect to geographical maps. Okay, so for this, what I'll do, I will take the states. Okay, drag and drop it on the columns. Okay, then I want to see the sales based on each state. How much each state is basically making. What are the sales that they are basically making? I'll drop the sales on the rows. Okay, I'll get this bar graph, but I don't want this. I want a symbol map. Okay, I'll click on the symbol map. Okay, it will take some time to pre-process that. Okay, so once I get this, I'll get this world map itself. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'll get this world map, but I'm not able to get the data points. Okay, or the data being allocated over the geographical map here. That's because we need to make a setting here. Okay, so we need to make a setting that whatever the states that has been mentioned in this. Okay, if you see here in this data, if I go to states here, where is it? State. Yeah, if you see the states, California, Florida, so these are with respect to USA, right? So I need to mention that particular geographical area, right? So what I'll do, I'll go to this map menu and I will say edit location. Okay, by default, it is getting the country as in India. So instead of this, what I'll do, I will change it to United States. Okay, based on the whatever the column value I have, I'll change it to United States and I'll click OK. Now, if you see here, all the data points with respect to sales are marked over that particular United States maps. Now, what I'll do, I'll just say zoom at this and try to get that. Okay, let me see. Yeah. So now, if I zoom this, okay, I'll get it sales based on each state. Okay, as you can see, there is a sale of 457, and there is a small dot, okay, for Nevada. Okay, so now this becomes a problem. These are very small dot. How can I increase this size? Okay, so what I can do, I can just go to this size, okay, increase the size to whatever the length I want. I can increase to this much or to this much. Okay, so I'll increase to till here. Okay, and also want to make a color for this, and I will just track the sales for that particular, and I can change the color to, let me change the color to sunrise divergent, and I will apply. Okay, so this is how you can see the sales for each of the states using the map graph. Okay, so this is, you can see, this is a symbol map. Okay, I can change this, this round to any other one. Like, let's say I want to say change it to, no, I cannot change the size or the shape of this. Okay, so let's say I want to convert it to this geographical map, which is the second map. Okay, so if I click on this, okay, so I'll get this second map, which is a geographical map. Okay, so as you can see, I got a sales in a colored format. So let me change this color to orange. Okay, and I want to see the sales on this map, right? So what I'll do, I'll just drag and drop on the labels. Okay, so now you can see each state has how much sales for that particular product. Let me take the state as well on the label. Okay, now I can see the clearly the state name as well as the sales I made. Okay, geographical map. See, there is a show me here. Okay, so there I have a two maps here. One is symbol map, another is a geographical map. Okay, so symbol map basically gives me the shape. Okay, let's say based on the shape itself, it will give me which state is giving me the sales, highest sales or the lowest sales. Based on the shape itself, I need to decide. But I don't want to decide based on that. I want to decide based on the geographical map itself. Okay, if I had more sales in California, I should get a darker color. I can do this using the legend itself. Okay, so for this, I will basically select the second geographical map in order to get this particular map, right? And if you are worried about how can we change if you are only getting a blank word map, so for this you need to go to map and edit the location to United States. Okay, so then only we'll get this particular United States map with all the sales. Okay, now
How to highlight these locations?
highlight or no, it's not about highlighting. Okay, it's
I
about
mean to
giving the
say
labels.
for example, the states that are coming, they are coming in black, and mine is white. How to change the color?
You can just go to this legend. Okay, edit the colors.
What he's asking is about the label color, which is black. That to change.
Yes, I am asking about the label color. I'm not asking about the this legend color that you're talking.
Okay, label color, you can just click on this. Okay, which let's say you are going with respect to states. Can you show me that? I can tell you.
I'm talking about states only. Yes.
Can you share the screen? I can tell you better.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Okay, now you want the labels for the states, right?
Yes.
So what you can do, you can take the state, okay, from the table, drag and drop it on the label. Okay, so now you want sales
the-
as well.
Yes.
You can just take the sales and drag and drop.
And can the color of the label be changed?
Color of the label. What is the need necessary of the changing the color of the label?
No,
It
just
only the fonts will be changed. Okay, if you try to change the label color here, only the fonts colors will be changed there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So okay, so this is how you basically implement the geographical maps. Okay. So now let's move on with the filters here. Okay. What I'll do, I'll take customer name, drag and drop on the columns. Okay, I'll get this warning message. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just say all the members. Okay, it will basically, Tableau in this sheet only takes 1,000. Okay, if it exceeds more than that, I'll get this particular pop-up. Okay, so let's just say I will include all the customer name. And what I'll do, based on this customer, how many sales they made. Okay, for each customer, how many sales they made. Okay, so yeah, if you see here, let me swap it here. Okay, if I scroll this, okay, I have a huge customers with their sales, right? So let me sort it based on the descending. Okay, so out of this, I only want the customer name which starts with a C. Okay, I only want a customer whose first character starts with a C letter. Okay, so for that, what I need to do, I need to filter it out the entire chart here, right? So I will take the customer name for this. First of all, what is this? Yeah, customer name, drag and drop it over the filters card. Okay, I'll take the customer name, drag and drop on the filters. Okay, it will give me the filter pop-up window. Okay, so here, as you can see, our condition was to get a customers whose first character starts with a C, right? So for that, I can use the wildcard here. Okay, so before that, let me tell you what are the these four things. Okay, so this general is basically one of the general filter method. So where you can basically select only those customer names you want to select. Okay, only those you want to display it on the sheet here. Let's say I don't want Andrew, I don't want Amy, and I don't want Cox. Okay, so this is how you can basically filter it manually, or you can filter it based on the you can basically instead of that you can just use it all, and you can use a separate filter. I will tell you that. Okay, so let's do it with respect to the first general itself. Okay, so now if I apply this and I say okay. Okay, now let's say I'll say show filter here. Okay, this will give me the general filter. Okay, so we are basically discussing with respect to general filter here. Okay, let's say I only want Aaron, sales of Aaron. Okay, so these are the 3 arrows that I basically get. Okay, so this is how basically the general filter works. Okay, I can select whoever I want to see the sales of that particular customer. Okay, so let me edit this. Okay, so now what I'll do, since my previous question was I only want a customer name whose first character starts with a C, right? So for that I can use the second filter, which is the wildcard. As you can see, there are there are several other things along with the wildcard here. One is contains, one is starts with, one is ends with, one is exactly the match. Okay, since my question is start with a C, right? So I will say start with, and I will mention C here. Okay, now if I apply this, okay, let me remove the previous filter. Okay, do this again. Customer name, wildcard, it starts with C, and I will apply. Okay, I'll get all the customer name whose first character is C. Okay, as you can see here, all the customer names. Okay, let's say I want to edit it. Okay, I don't want C, I want A. So instead of going back to edit filters and doing it again, going to wildcards, what I can do, I can just click on show filters. Okay, so here the C basically tells that I want exact match of C here. Okay, not exact match, basically starts with the C character, and this stars basically tells that the remaining are optional. It can be anything. Okay, so now instead of C, what I'll do, I'll say A. I'll say enter. So I'll get all the customer name whose name starts with the A. First character basically starts with the A here. Okay, so this is with respect to wildcard filtering. Okay, so let me just remove this particular filter. Let's understand the next conditional filter there. Okay, so now I want a condition. Okay, here the condition is basically I want all the customer name who made sales less than 100. Okay, I want all the customer names who made a sales less than 100. For that, what I'll do, I'll take the sales. Since the condition is associated with the sales column, I'll take the sales and drag and drop it on the filters. Okay, now it will ask me what is the aggregation you want to, or how do you want to filter your sale here? Is it based on the sum of sales, or is it based on the average sales? Since I want based on the sum of sale itself. Okay, since my condition is the sum of sales or the sales has to be less than 100. I'll say next. Okay, so here I can mention what is the range I want to filter it. Okay, so since it has to be less than 100, right? So I'll select almost, I mean at most, and I will say 100. Okay, and I will apply this. Once I apply it, I'll get all the customers, okay, whose sales is less than 100. Okay, see, in filters we basically have two parts. One is filters with respect to dimension. So as we saw, this is with respect to dimension. Let me show it again. Sales customer name. Okay, so this is with respect to the dimension. Okay, this is sales filter with respect to dimension, and this is the filter with respect to measures. Okay, you can select the sum since you have a range of numbers, right, in this measures. So hence you will get this second filter, second part of the filter. Okay, so now this is with respect to conditional filtering. Okay, let's see one more filter. So which is getting the top 10 customers. Okay, top 10 customers based on the sales. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go to this top and I will say by field. I'll say top. Okay, top 10, or you can take top 15. Let me take it top 10 it based on a sales. Okay, sum of sale itself. I want to segregate or filter it the top 10 customers here. So what I'll do, I will apply it. And if I see, so these are the top 10 customers who made the highest sales. Okay. Is this clear? All right. So once we are done with all the visualization, what are the things that we wanted, right? So once we got all this, now it's a time to bring out all these sheets or the visualization into a single page, which is basically called as a dashboard. Okay, so I'll click on this dashboard. Okay, so which is the square box we can see here. I'll click on this, okay, or else we can go to this dashboard, new dashboard. Okay, this will basically create a new dashboard here. So now let me create a dashboard here, okay, for a certain visualization. Okay, before doing this, what I need to do, I need to fix the size of this. Since I don't know, the size may vary. Okay, the screen size may vary from one device to another devices. Okay, hence I'll select automatic itself. So this is the size of my screen, hence it will allow this particular size of sheet. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to visualize certain things, right? So before that, let me write a text here. Okay, let me take this text from this object and drag and drop it here. Okay, so now I want to write a title which is saying dashboard for super sales. Okay, so let me increase the font size, make it bold, and keep it at the center. If I say OK, I'll get this the title here. Okay, so this whatever the thing this box is there, right? So it is minimizable. Okay, so you can decrease the size, or you can remove this particular text here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to drag some of the sheets, whatever the sheet that I previously made with respect to visualization. I want to drag those sheet and drop it on this dashboard. So what I can do, I can just take the sheet one, okay, drag it and drop it here. Okay, I'll drop it here. So this is with respect to sales versus category. Okay, so now I also wanted a bubble chart here. I'll get a bubble chart, and I also want a tree map. Okay, so what I'll do, I will just take this here. Okay, so since as you can see, these are the legends, right? So these are basically taking much of the spaces. What I can do, I can just click on this and remove. Okay, I'll just remove these legends. Okay, so this increases my space here. Okay, let me take a forecast model here, where it is. Or let me also take this geographical map. Let me paste it here somewhere, and let me decrease the size of this title here. Remove the legend. So let me resize this to below the sheet one itself. Okay, I will add this tree map below the sheet one so that I can get a clear picture of this map. Okay, let me add this forecast as well. I'll drag and drop it below the bubble chart. Okay, let me remove this legend again, and what is the other sheet we need to add here? Vertical, horizontal bar, text. Let me add this filter itself. Okay, let me take this top 10 customers. I'll add it here. Okay, so these are the 6 sheets I can add to my dashboard. Okay, so now if you want to show it to your stack on the stakeholders, okay, you can directly use this dashboard to present it. Okay, just click on this present. Okay, this on this icon. If you click on this, you'll basically get this full in the presentation mode itself. Okay, and now there is one more thing to add to this, that is adding the actions to the dashboard. Let's say I want all the sheets. Let's say when I click on this technology, right, I need to get all the details reflected to other charts as well. Okay, when I click on this technology, right, so with respect to this technology, okay, if there is any sales, okay, with respect to either bubble chart or with respect to particular state, okay, if I want to reflect or make a interactive one by clicking on this and making the changes to all the other sheets, what I can do is there is one of the feature in this dashboard which is actions. Okay, so if you see here, there is a dashboard menu, and action. Okay, if I click on this actions here, right? So I can able to add some of the actions. Okay, so here let me add a new action, which is a filter. Okay, I'll add the filter. Okay, so since whenever I select the technology, the other which is at the sheet 1 itself, right? So whenever I select the technology on sheet 1, the remaining sheet must be changed, right? So this sheet 1 will become my source sheet here. Okay, so hence I will select this sheet 1 itself, which is sheet 1 sales, right? So where it is, here. Okay, I'll only select this as a source. Whenever I click on the sheet 1 technology, right? So this becomes the source sheet. And when I click on this, and I need to see the reflection on the remaining sheets here, right? So that will become, the remaining sheets will become my target sheets here. So what I'll do, I will deselect this sheet 1 and I will select the remaining as well. Okay. So now this is with respect to selecting the source sheet and the target sheet. Now I want to see how this action should look like. Okay, so whenever I take my mouse, right? So whenever I need to see this action when the mouse is forward, or when I select that particular bar or the bubble chart, whatever it is. Okay, so or we can use the menu. For now, I will do select itself. Okay, so I'll select it and I'll say okay. And again, I will say okay here. Okay, so now the action has been applied. Let's see how it basically works. Okay, okay. Now, if I click on technology, okay, the technology has made a sales of 836K, right? Dollar of 836K. Now, if I click on this, let me show it again. There is a change in the remaining sheets as well. Okay. As I can see, technology has, see, as you can see, so these bubbles are with respect to the subcategories. Okay. So this is my category. Technology is my category. Under this, I have a subcategory consisting of accessories, phone, copier, machines. Okay. Hence, I'm only able to see the subcategories of technology in this particular chart. And if I see here, I can only see the tree map with respect to the technology. Okay, so these are the sales with respect to technology in that particular period of time. Okay, and also this trend line, the forecast is with respect to the technology itself. Okay, so how technology is going to predict the sales for the next 2015. Okay, only with respect to technology here. Okay, I'm basically filtering out with respect to the technology. And these customers, how much sales they are making with respect to technology. Okay, I can see Sean Miller is making 23,482. Okay, so this is with respect to technology. He is selling these many products with respect to technology, and he is making this much of sale. If I deselect this technology, okay, if I deselect this, or if I select on the furniture here, okay, so this will change with respect to the furniture. What are the different subcategories, sales made in that particular year? I will get the forecast with respect to the furnitures. Okay, how much Sanjit Chand has made sales with respect to furnitures. Okay, I'll get all this data. Similarly, with respect to office supplies. Okay. So this is how you can basically make a dashboard using the actions. Anything you want me to repeat?
So actually more than repeat, it has become too much.
Is this too much or?
Yeah, all
Sorry?
in a time. Yeah, it's all in a time. Like, okay.
Yeah, it becomes difficult to remember, right? So all the
Yeah,
steps
yeah,
that I basically following.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, as you keep on practicing. Sorry. Yeah, as you keep on practicing, right? So start watching the recorded videos on this. How to make particular, how to follow the particular steps. You can. So you can just use the recordings and start practicing on it. Once you practice for 1 or 2 times with the different case studies, you can basically understand how each process of the steps are basically carried out. Yes, but videos will upload same then. Preetham, with respect to getting the recording videos, only the
Yes, sir.
coordinators can help us.
Actually, previous class has SQL's session. First is video is not uploaded, and actually they are uploaded the name of in the sequels, but when we open the sequels video, that is actual not this video. It's a part of linear regression.
So what you can do is you can just drop it in the JLC itself. Okay. I guess there is the ask section of the
Can
discussion
you please
section.
connect with them?
I guess they are in this session itself. Reshma, you there? Reshma?
As usual, C is not there.
Do one thing. Have you tried with a mail?
Sir, we many times send mails, raise tickets, and I am not also. Many students are raise the tickets and do the same as you were saying.
Let's see.
We
Reshma,
have
you
done
there
it,
with us?
but they didn't respond.
At the same issue, it was sorted. See, some of them are saying it was sorted. Reshma, you there? Okay, let me talk with her. Okay, once again, I will talk with her. I will make sure that these videos as well as sequel videos are being uploaded there. Okay.
So just you could
No
just
problem.
repeat that when you selected technology bar in the sales versus category sheet one, all the other sheets changed accordingly.
Yes.
And how is that being done? Through actions.
Yeah. So what do you need to do? You go to this dashboard, select actions. Okay. Since I'm basically performing the filter. So see, whatever that I'm doing here, selecting and getting the changes to other maps. So that is nothing but a filters. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll say filters, add action, and then I'll go to filters. Here, I need to do three things. One is to select the source sheet from where I click, right? So here I need to make a changes based on the sheet one itself, right? So what I'll do, I'll deselect the remaining one. So hence the sheet one will become my source sheet. Okay. So here, what I'm doing, should I make it based on the hovering the mouse or should I make it based on selecting? So first of all, I'll select it. Okay. So then I will go to this target sheet. Okay. So target sheet will become the remaining sheet that has been added to this dashboard here. So here I have all the selected sheet, but I need to deselect the first sheet, right? So that because that is the source sheet for us. Okay. So let me deselect that. Okay. So once you're done with that, you can just say okay.
And what will menu do?
Sorry.
The
Menu.
action is to be taken when hovered, when selected, and what will menu do?
You can try it out. Okay. So this basically gives me the menu itself. Okay. So instead of changing there, it will give you some menu where it basically shows the changes once you select that particular menu. Okay. Okay, you can try it out all these things either with hover or with a menu or single select only. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Any other doubts?
Can this dashboard be saved as a PDF?
Yes, if you have the access to Tableau desktop. Okay, so this is a Tableau public. There is a restriction, as I said previously. This has a restriction with with respect to those features, either with respect to connecting the different data source or with respect to exporting it. Okay, so there is a restriction for this.
So the dashboard and the sheets that we have created today, can we save them or they would be lost?
You can save it in the form of a Tableau public X. Okay, so if you see here, if I say file, okay, let me see here. If I say save to Tableau public as, so you need to sign for this. Okay, so this basically saves to the server. Okay,
This will save to the cloud.
yeah, it will save to the server itself, Tableau server, where you will have a profile similar to what you have with respect to social media, right? So where you can show off your tweets, okay, with respect to Twitter. Similarly here, you can show off your dashboard or all the work that you made with respect to this particular data set.
Can't save it to the system?
As I said previously, there is a restriction here. You cannot save it to your desktop here.
Fine.
You need that particular software package, which is desktop, which is a price one. You need to purchase that. Okay, so you can also get that particular desktop by applying as a student. Okay, there is an option. Let me show that option to you. You can get free access to the Tableau desktop. There it is. Let me see. Okay, you go here to Tableau products, to Tableau desktop here. Okay, so here somewhere pricing. I can just search for Tableau desktop for student. Okay, so you'll get this Tableau for student. Okay, click on this. So you need to get a free student license. You can get a free student license. For this, you need to have your college email ID for this. Okay, for verification, you need to have a college verification as well as a sheet. You need a letter from your college saying that you are a student of that particular institute. Okay, so once you submit all this, you can basically get a free license for 1 year. All right, so this is it with respect to Tableau. So I guess you got it most out of this. If not, you can go with the recordings again. You can clarify what are the steps need to be done for that particular bringing that particular visualization. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we can wind up this session here. Before going that, please go through the feedbacks. Okay, it is open now. Please go through that feedback, and once you are done with that, you can draw. Okay. Yeah, so Preetham. So these many of the people are trying to resolve the issue. In raise the ticket, but sure, Preetham. So we will basically look into this issue and try to get the recording.